We're the United States. We don't need that. People know what is here because we're in the news 24/7. We don't need a department to encourage tourism. They're going to come anyway.
Now,
and the fact that you want to charge people is going to counteract that and decrease the number of visitors.
Hold on here. I want to just toss in some. Now, I'm not against the fee. I think the fee is a good idea.
Why?
Because it pays for these security things. It pays for all these new things. Finally, the government isn't giving stuff away. They're trying to actually, you have to do this. Again, this goes back to sacrifices. Guess what? We have to pay for stuff in order to, I don't think that this new organization is necessary. I just like that this $10 fee could pay for our security problems. The security problems come from outside people. Guess what? The mass of outsiders who want to travel to the U.S. have to pay because there are a few from outside the country who want to threaten us.
But you're going to punish everybody?
Exactly. It's the same situation that we do all the time.
We do that all
the time. We do that all the time.
How?
When, for instance, someone just, in any situation where there's an individual who does something wrong and everyone else gets punished. I can't think of I'm trying to think of a specific one.
Well, it's not fair for me to put you on the spot for that. I understand what you're saying. I just think that it's going to hurt tourism. I mean, why? Then that's also going to hurt our national image, which I'm really not that concerned about. But if you're going to give the image that you have to pay to come to see our country, it's just so privileged. I don't think that's. I think a significant amount.
I don't see it as we're making it. I understand that they'll see it that way. I disagree in that respect, but I think of it as paying for an enormous amount of expansion that's happened to the government because of outside threats.
But I just don't think it's fair that they have to pay for that. That's not. I don't think that's just right.
All right, so you think it's going to hinder travel to the U.S.?
I absolutely do. I mean, if you're going to charge people, I mean, a ticket to the United States already costs an arm and a leg, and that $10 could be the difference between saying, I think I'll go or I'm not going to go. $10 doesn't seem like very much, but when it's $10 on top of a $400 ticket, a $500 ticket, $510 sounds different than $500. I really think that.
Okay.
And I just think that the amount of money that they're bringing in from other countries is going to just contribute to economic growth. And by decreasing that, you're going to, hinder the travelers. Where if they come here and buy stuff in the local areas, there's sales tax that is going to go towards the federal government from that sales tax.
But that's what that's what they do. They come here. A lot of people come here to purchase things because it's cheaper than it is in Europe. Europe's a wealthy.
I think that it'll discourage a number of travelers. I really don't think this is good for the country in the least.
Very well then. Let's move on to our next topic. A man, since we're on travel, let's go into this one. A man was denied a first-class seat on a United flight. He was told that he could not sit in first class because he was wearing a running suit. And he is he's one of Best Buy's vice presidents. So, let's go to the questions. Do you think that first of all, they should be allowed to deny someone based on dress code to sit there when they've paid for the ticket?
See, again, we get into this whole government right thing. I think it is the private company. They're allowed to do what they want. However, it is extraordinarily bad PR. I mean, if they've already paid for the ticket, they
must not care that much because they haven't responded to anyone.
Well, apparently what had happened is this guy had purchased a coach ticket and then used his frequent flyer miles to upgrade to a first-class ticket. So it's not like he knew he was going to sit on first class. But this idea that you have to be a businessman in a suit or
you see people all the time in first class that aren't dressed up.
Yeah, but I mean, just because he's wearing a tracksuit doesn't make him any different than any other individual. I mean, he said he was like a red carpet member, whatever their extreme executive club is. Why would you? I mean, that's just terrible public relations and terrible customer service. I mean, if I'm a business person looking to go to find if I'm a business executive looking to find an airline to, invest in and say we're going to use you for our corporate travel, I'm going to stay away from United. They only shot themselves in the foot here.
Yeah, I think it reflects badly on United, but I really don't. I mean, I just don't care how terrible that he wasn't allowed to sit in first class. I don't really agree that it's that terrible because he didn't pay for it. He doesn't want a refund.
Yeah, he was upset and embarrassed.
He just wrote to a TV station to complain about it. So he's not getting much sympathy from me.
Yeah, but I don't know if no one's responded from United, so we don't know if it's a company policy or if it was just a gate person, And apparently the flight wasn't that full, so it's not like, they could have made room for a fancy Armani suit wearing guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it just hurt themselves in PR, so they're gonna let themselves deal with their own damage. All right, let's do this last one quick before we go to commercial here. We all know we talked, was it 2 weeks ago, about the Obama administration's war on Fox News? Well, the White House has taken it one step further. They are refusing to work with any Democratic strategist who is on Fox News. So if you watch any kind of show like Studio B with Shepard Smith or any of those other shows, they have, usually it's the host, a Republican strategist, and a Democratic strategist. They talk about issues and, how each party is going to spin it and how does this hurt their party and help the other party, blah, blah, blah. And now the White House is saying, if you appear on Fox News, we're not going to work with you. Get out of here. You're being shunned in Washington. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that it is a poor decision for the White House to do this. I think
Absolutely.
This is wasting political capital. They are becoming ridiculous with this. They're getting way, way too political for claiming to be so bipartisan. We haven't seen we've seen this we saw this in the Bush administration, but only in members. I mean, you saw it in Dick Cheney and stuff like that. You didn't see it from the White House. It was not a White House policy. It was Dick Cheney's policy of when he would personally travel and things like that. He wouldn't want to see any non-conservative news organization. Now we're getting into huge threats that have implications throughout the entire party.
Exactly.
And this is way too much involvement. Who cares if a Democratic strategist appears? I know that they're trying to discredit Fox News, but what an incredible waste of White House resources.
Well, yeah, which translates to tax dollars. But the fact is that they're only hurting themselves. I mean, they just gave Fox News a whole month's worth of articles to talk about. They just gave them reason to say, well, we're so unfair and not balanced, but you won't let us have any of your strategists on. Whose fault is it? Your fault. And they're going to spin it. And Fox has a huge viewer base. They crush CNN in ratings. This is only going to hurt them
by quite a bit. The O'Reilly factor dominated primetime and all the cable ratings the night of the Fort Hood massacre. Because, just completely annihilated any competitors. And it's a sad thing that he was able to have success on that kind of night.
But that's
a reference point to how many people turn to Fox News for their information.
And this is just going to hurt this administration in the long run. They're going to just be seen as people who are wasting, as you said, political capital or resources on things that don't matter. I mean, for such a macro level organization that should be concerned about the nation and its citizens, why do they care about their image on one network? How many news networks and news organizations are there? Why are they focusing so much on one because it's so out of balance? I mean, I just think it's a waste of time, and it makes them look absolutely horrible.
Well, I think it's interesting. I really can't. At first, it made some sense, but I still think it's just not a good idea because I don't know why you would go after it so hard. I just don't. Everybody knows Fox News is biased. And it's as if they don't understand that the base of its viewers will just feed off this.
Exactly.
They're already not fans of the president.
Come on,
they'll just enjoy it. They'll be like, oh yeah, all right. They're going to be even more ridiculous. Then it'll fuel more conservative flames. And I understand that they're trying to get those fundamental conservatives out there to be loud because it hurts the way the Republican Party looks. But this tactic, I don't agree because you want to be helping controlling the view of the middle and just removing in some sort of weird dictatorship control over the party any option that a strategist can do and removing their choice of where they go is not a good idea.
No,
I don't think that's a good idea at all.
No, especially for an administration that won on the support of independence.
Well, they were all about bipartisanship.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The last thing I say before we go to break here is for a candidate who ran so much on bipartisanship and politics that are not the usual politics, this is very partisan, and I'll give him that it's not politics as usual. This is beyond politics as usual in the wrong way. This is very, very partisan politics and not what this country needs, especially with huge issues like the healthcare and energy reform and stuff like this that are on the table right now. So I just think that this is just not representative of what this administration ran on. So I don't have anything else to add. You want to say anything else before we go to break here?
No, we'll be back